Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a breaking news special here at Double Barrel Gaming. Now, obviously, on Tuesdays is the normal show, as it's been for years, the Xbox Factor podcast. But you know what? I felt it to be a little weird on an Xbox show talking about, well, PlayStation. So I changed it up a bit. I made it a breaking news special because, quite frankly, there is breaking news. We are going to have a rotating amount of people popping in. And obviously, I sent the link to everybody. I know BitCloud, who just did a live stream, we're going to try and get him in here to get his actual take from a PlayStation gamer. Listen, this is what everyone has been waiting for. We found out yesterday, late afternoon, that Mark Cerny was going to spend 9 minutes breaking down the PlayStation 5 Pro. The price was everyone's concern. There was some rumors out there that the all digital was going to be $600 and that the disc drive version was going to be $700. It turns out to be the horror show that none of us wanted, and that is, of course, the all digital PS5 Pro is $700 without the vertical stand, and that is, of course, without the disc drive. I want to welcome in our international viewers from the UK who apparently are raging right now over the pricing. And of course, our brothers and sisters all the way in Canada who have come forward and said, yeah, if we need everything, it's $1,000+. I don't know what Sony was thinking when they did this. This is one of those step on your D moments that I honestly cannot believe in 2024 they're trying this. We're going to get to everyone in a second. But again, folks, get ready for the next 90-something minutes. We're not going to be talking about Xbox. I had to rewrite the whole show when this news broke. It's going to be all about the mistake of what Sony is doing. Obviously, this comes on the cusp of prices being raised in Japan for the current PlayStation 5. They just, in the most sneakiest way possible, raise the controller price $5, and it is the arrogant Sony returning. Korkenstein, brother, you said it in the green room. This to you anyway reminds you of a certain time. Please tell the viewers, first of all, welcome, and tell everybody what this reminds you of.
Yeah, this just reminds me of the PS3 launch arrogance, where they had no launch lineup of games. Or they did, but it was a very weak launch lineup. They were asking for overpriced on the PS3. It's the same thing over again. It's like Sony has learned absolutely nothing. They're just power to the payer. That's been a long time quote. We've all said it. Yep. They're just nickel and diming their consumers, and it's insane. I can't see how you can be a PS consumer right now when you don't even get half the benefits you do in other ecosystems.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Now, Jeff Keighley, obviously he's a PlayStation guy. He is the host of the Game Awards, a very popular show. He's out there. He had a thumbnail he put together, PS5 Pro Witness Play Unleashed. I'm not witnessing anything because I wouldn't buy it. I'm not going to buy it. I don't think the FPSs, as the kids like to say, are worth its price of admission. Once we get into the swing of things and after the introductions, we'll go down and break down the following games coming directly from Jeff Keighley that are set for PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced versions. I did not. Yeah, I haven't heard if there's going to be, if they're going to be automatically up-res like you do with your Series X, or they're going to charge you for it. That, we'll see. But Jamie, all the way from the UK, you're saying that the people there are pretty angry at PlayStation right now, and it's interesting. Sony finds themselves in a pickle. Financially, which is why the price of this dictates how much in trouble they are financially. They're nickeling diming once again. Again, the price rate increase of the PS5 of the PS5 Pro over the original is just egregious. The raise in price of the controller, again, no announcement, no, hey, this is what we're doing. They just did it. Again, this is wow. I am unbelievably shocked at PlayStation right now. How you feeling, man?
Yeah, I outside of the PlayStation stuff, I feel great. All the good Xbox news and stuff. But like you said, we're not talking about that stuff today. Everyone is angry about the whole PlayStation price thing because, let's be honest, it's a console that no one was asking for nor needed. The hardware we have right now is fine. This isn't like back 4 years ago or whatever, or 6 years ago, when 4K television adoption came into the fold like big time, and everyone was wanting these games and like movies to support the TV features. None of that's happening now. Nobody's getting 8K TVs. Nobody's going to be playing 8K video games on a $700 console, or $900 if you live in the UK. It's a joke. It's a joke. And look, people could say I might be hating on PlayStation. I want all three companies to succeed. They all need to succeed, and that's how we all win. But at the end of the day, if they coming out with a mid-gen refresh that no one was really asking for, like people say that this generation hasn't really started yet because you had the pandemic and every game was delayed. So like now it feels like we're getting big games regularly, and then they put out a new console and they don't even bother to throw in a stand. It's a joke. And over here, people, like I just went on Reset Era before, a very PlayStation-centric forum, and people are livid. People are angry, and people do not want to buy this thing because it is just too much. For like, you could buy basically like two like regular consoles for this. It's a joke.
Yeah, it is absolutely a joke. The power increase, which we're going to go into the specifics once we start talking about what's going on, are just not worth the price of admission. I think you're onto something. Who asked for this? Crispy Bomb. I don't think anybody asked for this. Again, we're in an era right now, Crispy, where the dollar or the Canadian dollar or the pound, wherever you're from, is not worth what it used to be 5 years ago. Everything is expensive. I don't understand the move for this, especially not having a launch title. If you remember when the Xbox One X was released, that was one of the running narratives from social media, especially the pundits. They were out there banging the drum. How could you release a new console with no new games? Well, here you go. Let's talk. I mean, welcome. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, we got to get. Hopefully, Bit comes in because
I'm gonna reach out to him right now. Send the link personally,
dude. Yeah. He was laughing so hard because, dude, like $200 in difference in price.
Yeah,
and you didn't really show us anything that was like worth the $200. And then myself, not having a PlayStation, I'm like, okay, like if it was 600 and they showed some, like bells and whistles, because I've went down that rabbit hole with Xbox, and it's taken time, but they've been pretty fruitful with what they've shown me. So I look at PlayStation, I'm like, like your back's kind of against the wall. You've released games, like you got Astrobot out there, like it's making noise and everything else. Why not, throw a bone and say, okay, like we're doing all of these great things, and it's only $600. And then people will be like, there would be arguments back and forth, but I think it would be a little more level-headed. And I think we're at the point where $700, it's like, bro, like I can go buy a pre-build. You know what I mean? So like,
pretty much,
I don't know. Like, and you're releasing like Astrobots on PC. So I mean, what are we talking about here? So I think there's a lot of people that like, we're thinking about a console or something like that, and they probably like were looking to PlayStation first, and this just turned them off. And exactly what Korkenstein said, PS3 era, like all over again, the arrogance, the nonchalantness, like, like, hey, we don't have to talk to anyone. And they've been doing that for years, but I think it's becoming more prevalent because you see the success of other consoles. And I think that's something that they need to realize.
Yeah, it's a head scratcher, folks. It is a head scratcher. So I reached out to BitCloud and see if we can get him in here, get his hot take. Want to welcome in nearly 700 people already here. Big thank you to everyone tuning in.
700
days. Yeah, 700.
How coincidental.
You know what's interesting, 700 Umbra? How are you doing, kind sir? Not the news that we were expecting to speak about, because obviously we're on an Xbox podcast, but this is breaking news. This has sent and it's in the title. I believe, just based on some of the conversations that are going on, shockwaves through the industry. No one saw this actually happening. Well, here we are, Umbra. How you doing? Good morning or good afternoon now.
Well, good morning still for me because it's only 11 something. But yeah, for you, I know you my New York brothers and Eastern, well, further out and I guess overseas brothers. Yeah, I'm sure it's not that time. Anyway, that aside, I actually did call this price tag. I said it would be $700.
Wow.
And part of the reason why I felt it would be that is one, we're talking about this GPU will be comparable to allegedly a 4070.
It was 4090 at first, and then 5090, and then they jumped everywhere. I think it was 9090. It was everywhere.
The 6090, yeah. I've seen a few of those tweets, by the way. But yeah, like the thing is that I don't underestimate Sony when it comes to treating their customers like pay pigs, because they are pay pigs. Our Who brothers have shown time and time again they will absolutely pay what Sony is asking, and I think maybe Sony feels emboldened because this is that PS3 era energy right here.
Indeed.
You know, they feel emboldened and like, oh, we can charge, to borrow a phrase from Everborn, charge them more. You know what I mean? Because look, we're like the market leader. We don't really have any competition. This is how they're looking at it. Microsoft is already putting their games on our platform. They're like, oh, we can just charge for this and they can get all of this, and it's the best of both worlds. You don't have to go to PC. You can get it here. Right? That's what they're saying.
I'm shocked.
From what they showed, though, and I know I'm not going to jump all the way into it yet because I know you're just introducing us, but from what they showed, I wasn't wowed by anything, to be honest. Maybe it's because I've also been gaming on a PC, so it's like, But, and I think also, too, the games that they showcased was like, we've seen it time and time again, so they're not wowing us from what we saw. It's like, oh, look, it's slightly less blurry. Oh. So I don't know. I don't think that would justify the price tag like that for me. But and then they pack it in, I believe, Astro's Playroom, the first game in the series, right? So hey, there is that, I guess.
I mean, why not the one that you just released? You see, this is what I am talking about. Listen. I'm not going to get into whether you like it or you don't. If you don't like Astrobot's Playroom, I hear you. If you don't like the new one, I hear you. If you're not a platform guy, gal, we're not here to even discuss it. That's perfectly fine. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. If you feel it's too kiddie or it's not your bag, that's perfectly okay. But this is the kind of nickel and diming that makes me have a ridiculous distaste for Sony Corp. They just released a new Astrobot. That's a great game. I'm very much enjoying myself. How come that game is not packed into your $700 device? That to me doesn't make any sense, because it's not available today. It's available at the end of the year. So you have plenty of time for sales of of Astrobot, the new one, the current one that released a couple of days ago. You have plenty of time to sell that. Why not pack? How about this? For $700, why not pack both of them in? One of which is old, 4 years old this November, right? It was a pack-in for the PlayStation 5 originally in 2020. Put both of them in there. I listen, I don't know what else to say, but we got to continue with the introductions. Crazy Lou Gaming, obviously you're going to have a lot to say. This is once again Sony shooting themselves in the foot. This is once again Sony telling the customers, the consumers, F you. We dictate how, basically Sony moving the head of the consumer, and they don't care that anyone says no.
Boom, 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 boom. Every morning I go in, I keep on telling the fans, you all got to start putting your fist up. I mean, you guys got to fight this. You guys got to go and say, Sony, what the hell are you guys doing out here? I mean, we had Concord, massive failure. We saw the price increase for the PS Plus, and now look what y'all have. I mean, these guys, boom, they were cheering, they were happy, they were going crazy. And it was funny because I was talking about this morning and keep telling people, like, in order for me to upgrade on this thing, right, and upgrade on this console, they got to really convince me, because we saw what's happening this generation with games, right? We saw they've been having a lot of optimization issues. We've seen a lot of stuff going around about it, right? And for you to put out a Pro, you got to really convince me. Something's got to have a wow factor, like for me to say, okay, let me go get it. Now, my price range was from $650 to $750, right? I was like, well, because, you know, like the 50 now, they're at $450, $550. So I was like $650 to, to $750. But damn, never expected to be $700 without the disc and $800 with the disc. Oh my God. And not only that, what we saw live, I mean, they literally showed us side by side. So basically, I'm gonna pay just for what? Just to see details better, an extra $150. I mean, that's without tax. Not only that, $700 console without the stand. They're charging you the stand beside it. I mean,
just arrogance.
I mean, think about it though. Think about it, Louis. They're saying, hey, you get the glaucoma-free version,
exactly,
and it learns to lean on itself and stand on its own 2 feet.
Oh yeah, that too. But seriously,
they're teaching you life lessons.
Oh, life lessons. All right, yeah.
I guess.
Oh my God! I mean, seriously, what's wrong with these fans? They gotta go out there and fight this. And wait, I'm telling you, Boom. If right here they're gonna charge 10 extra bucks for the PS Pro upgrade, oh man, I'm gonna sit here and see what they gotta say about that. Because seriously,
okay, so what I want to do, I want to go to Umber first. Umber, you are part of the PC MR, right? The place, yes. the master race, if you will. You understand tech,
indeed.
So I want you, because I don't. I understand what was shown today, and I understand the PS5 Pro versus the PS5, and there's not a lot here. But I would appreciate for our listeners, which we have a lot here. We have, my God, we're closing in on 900 live viewers, which is bonkers. Why don't you break it down one to the other, apples to oranges, if you will, and why this is just not worth the price of admission?
Well, see, now there lies the rub. What is, one man's trash is another man's treasure. See, like some people might see this and say, yeah, I got to get this. Now, I don't expect that to be the PS4 players that are still stuck on PlayStation 4. I don't expect them to upgrade, but the hardcore, I can see them buying this. I absolutely can. I'm sorry to say it. I'm not trying to be mean, but I think our Who brothers are particularly, how do I say this nicely? Pay pigs. I'll just say they're pay pigs. I was going to say something else, but I don't want to be mean.
No, I mean, listen, it is what it is. It's just not a good look. But go ahead.
Yeah, they will pay for these types of things, and if it's one thing to put a feather in their cap to kind of rub it in Xbox gamers' face, they'll be like, "Oh, we have the most powerful console." They're going to do it. Now, so what they did here is they upgraded, the GPU. Now, from what we saw with the GPU upgrade, we don't have specific numbers, so it's hard. We can't really speak on it too much outside of knowing that it was a 67% more compute units inside of it than the standard one, 28% faster memory. So that when they're saying that it'll allow for 45%, I believe 45%, they said faster rendering for gameplay. So that means you're going to get smoother gameplay. You're going to get the 60 frames per second. Games that have troubles such as maybe Black Myth Wukong, for instance, on console, are going to run even better, for instance, because of Unreal Engine being a GPU heavy type of game, right? Or just Unreal in general being a GPU heavy type of engine. They got the advanced ray tracing, so it's going to have better visuals, things of that nature. Now, I think the problem is we saw what we saw, and I was in a Discord with a bunch of good fellas that know all about this type of stuff. It's some of them, of course, some of the guys you all would know. And I think the big takeaway we all had was that this didn't look impressive just because of, one, I think many of us are gaming on PC. That's one. Two, they're using and highlighting games we've already seen that look pretty damn good already as they are. So this didn't really elevate anything. You know what I mean? That's the problem. If they would have showcased something new and said, hey, look how much better this looks now compared to what we used to give you on the base PS5, then they could have probably sold that, I think, a bit more. From what they've shown, I don't know how this would sell to anybody, being honest. And I'm saying that I think our Who brothers will invest, but maybe they might surprise me. Maybe this is a one penny too much for them. Who knows, right? We have seen other things fail from Sony, so it's not impossible, I would suppose. But something tells me that these guys are going to buy this thing, at least the hardcore. And I can probably expect, I would say we can probably expect to see an uptick in standard PS5 sales. And they're probably going to maybe lower that price this holiday for the PS5, the standard. I'm going to guess.
I doubt
so.
They just raised it.
I'm slightly doubtful too, but we'll see.
You know why I say no? I say no because Sony, the arrogance that everyone continues to refer to the PlayStation 3 era, right? They just raised the price of the PS5s in Japan. They just yesterday released, increased the price by, it's only $5, but $5 is still $5 of the here in the US for controllers. They're not going to lower the price of the PS5 regular. They're just not. What they're going to, I just, it would be shocking to see Sony do something like that. That's just my hot take. I mean, I could be 1,000% wrong, but this is Sony that we're talking about.
Yeah, they'll nickel and dime you a bit. One thing I did like, I guess, stuff that we can all relate to being Xbox, mainstays, is they have what they call the PS5, I guess, Pro Game Boost that they're having it. So they'll have like 8,500 backward compatible PS4 games playable on the Pro. So they'll allow for better performance, visuals, et cetera, et cetera. So there are some positives here. Clearly, a stronger GPU. But the
CPU is the problem. The CPU, from what I understand, please correct me if I'm wrong, is the same.
Yeah, I think it's the same, like a small percentage more than the standard. I think like a slight clock speed or something like that. I forgot.
There's still going to be bottleneck issues.
It's possible. I mean, Cerny, looking like the serial killer he is, he seems to know what he's doing. I'm sorry to say it. That man looks like Jeffrey Dahmer's cousin.
Oh my god.
He just I put it to this way. All jokes aside, he's just not a good speaker. He's just not. Sorry.
No. He's magical according to the ponies. So I'm just saying. I don't know.
I'm just saying. I feel like he has some people buried in the backyard right now.
No. Listen, he is magical.
Ronald is a much better speaker. I'm just saying.
Hey, we gotta give him props. I mean, he made everybody believe the SSD was super powerful. So yes, we gotta.
It doesn't, but it don't take much, Louis, to brainwash a Who brother. Let's be honest. They could sell them on anything if PlayStation said it, but. Let me stop messing with this man. Cerny is as crazy at times as he may look. He seems to know his stuff. So we'll see how it works, man. I am interested in that. Now, this is the part I'm not going to shut up after this. This is the problem for Xbox here, where I'm not going to say a problem. It's only a problem in marketing, and Sony is particularly good at marketing. I'm sure we can all agree. How is this going to affect anything for, let's say, a GTA? How are they going to promote that versus the standard? I guess non-pro versions of the game. That's, I guess, we have to see. I don't know how that might work out. And for certain other games that might be demanding that don't play as well on the standard versions, that's what I'm interested in seeing. Also, still though, Microsoft can easily counter this by saying, "Hey, here's a peek at the future for Xbox," and that price tag might still be under this 700 price tag right here, maybe. So there's a way to kind of show that. We heard the rumors of the supposed handheld. Maybe they might show that at the VGAs or something like that. A little peek at it. Who knows? We'll see. I'm just interested in seeing how this will sell through or not. And I guess we'll get a glimpse when they start the pre-orders.
I mean, look.
I got a question though. Sorry, Boom.
No, please, by all means.
How can you counter a failure? I mean, you just don't counter a failure like this. A massive failure. There's no forum to counter this. It's a massive failure. I mean, if you go look at the Jeff Keighley votes, I mean, everybody's voting D. Everybody's furious about this price tag, and not only that, 45% increase. And look at the details, right, Umbra? Look at these details. You saw Last of Us. I love how they use Last of Us like always, like it's the biggest thing, right? Because listen, Last of Us pushed what it had to push, and then it got a remastered. I do not know why it needed a remaster, but okay. I mean, it pushed the boundaries already, and they grabbed it like, oh, look over here. If you look at the scope, you can see that. You can see a lot more detail. Look, and I just love how he said, oh, it looks astonishing. Look at this.
It looked the exact same. It looked the exact same. Minus
I'm starting to see the comparison.
Gaslighting.
It's definitely gaslighting for sure.
It's the Pam meme from, it's like, show me the difference in these two pictures, and then the next one's like they're exactly the same. Like those comparisons that they were doing.
Well, the internet sleuths of the internet detectives, if you will, are starting to now throw up these side by sides with the ray tracing that they're talking about, and it's in certain instances a pinch more colorful, but there is no, from the naked eye, oh my god, what a 8-bit to 16-bit. It's
a slight less blurry, more clarified image. Also, I think it's negligible, but I would say the frames per second is the bigger prize for them. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if the price of this you're starting to now, I think, move into maybe I should buy a PC and just wait for the games to release on PC eventually, because look. Korkenstein, let's bring you in. You're another tech guy. You understand what's going on here. You put it out perfectly. You said that this is the arrogance of the PlayStation 3 era once again reeking its ugly head. And I think that Umbra also knocked it out of the park by simply saying, we're the market leader. And obviously a move like this, offering a new old console, because that's what it is. It's the PS5. It's a Pro. You're going to get about 10% of the populace that's going to buy it, because that's what you had, roughly around between 10 and 12% of the PS4 Pro versus the PS4. And you're going to get about 10% of people to buy this. But what's egregious here is the pricing. And when we break it down for you folks, this is where they get you. This is the nickel and diming that's just gross. Okay? The console itself is $700 plus tax. If you're like me, who doesn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe and won't buy games day one because they're $76.43 digitally, I wait till Black Friday and I get disc versions for half price, just like I did last year. I paid $31 for The Last of Us 1 remake, Final Fantasy 16, and one other one. I think it was Gran Turismo. All of those games were double the price, but I got the disc version, and I always buy a console with a disc drive for that reason. Yes, 80% of my collection is digital. That's fine. And sometimes you do get good sales on digital, but you get better sales on the physical. So if you want the ability to be able to do that, well, the disc drive is an additional $80. Oh, and PS, by the way, if you want to stand it vertically, that's another charge. And instead of putting in the new Astro Bot, which is an amazing game, they're packing in the original. This to me is arrogance 101. Let's get your hot take on what's happening here. Yeah, you're muted, brother.
Oh, I was saying, I mean, before I get screwed, I at least want to get wined and dined. Sony's not even doing that. It's just ridiculous. I mean, look at these prices, and look at the list that Keeley posted as well. Majority of that list is either money-hatted games or first parties. There's a reason why a lot of developers aren't jumping on this PS5 Pro thing, is because, like I said, I brought it up numerous times before, devs have to go back and re-optimize their games to take advantage of this hardware. You're not going to come in here putting, you're going to playing Minecraft, right? You throw in a 4090. You're not going to get Cyberpunk 2077 graphics on that's just not how it works. Devs have to go back and reconfigure. We have to do all that redesign, optimize to take advantage of that hardware so it can look like that. Most devs, they've already ballooned their costs already. This has been a numerous issue. We've seen massive layoffs. This is the reason why I don't think devs will go back and balloon costs even more for games that aren't even selling right now. We have so many new games coming out that I don't think they're going to go back and waste that money. They might as well just wait for the next game that they have in development to take advantage. So that's why I don't think you're going to see a lot of games taking advantage of the PS5 Pro until probably 2025, maybe even 2026 for some, like Grand Theft Auto. And then the second, it's just funny too because of this price. I mean, we just had, I think it was earlier today, ex-Sony president Chris Deering saying when people get laid off, they should probably just go to the beach or go outside. Like, how can they do that when they have to have 2 jobs to buy this thing in the first place? It's just, it makes no sense on what they're doing here. I think, Jamie, also, we were talking in the green room, and I think it was Colin Prime that brought this up about trade-ins. So let's say here in the United States, he said, I think the trade-in now is $231. So now to buy this PS5 Pro with a vertical stand, with a disk drive, you're practically paying for a whole other PS5 just to buy the PS5 Pro for what's prettier colors, maybe 5, maybe 10 frames more per second that most people really can't see, or that the general, casual gamer doesn't care about. It makes no sense. This is definitely Sony, like you said, nickel and diming their hardcore consumer base because they will pay for it. But casual consumers, I can't really see them biting the bullet. You even made a great point. Why not just go to PC?
Yeah.
And guess what company does Play Anywhere, where you buy it on one game, on one system, you get it on the other? Xbox. What's commonly included with Game Pass, where you get it on one, you get it on PC as well now? Xbox. It's to go from the 2 different ends of consumer friendly to now nickel and diming. I can't see how you can realistically look at yourself being a PlayStation consumer, especially in this times where, like you said, the UK economy is inflating. Here in the US, it's inflating. How can you afford this just to game as a luxury? This isn't a need, it's a want. So Xbox is hitting all the right notes with the series. Everyone's saying the Series S is a problem in the industry. Obviously not when you're releasing $700 consoles. So, I mean, take that as what it is, but it's just PS3 level arrogance again.
Yeah, and again, there's just no defending this. There just isn't. Jamie Moran, our good friend all the way from the UK. Let's talk about some of the. First of all, I'm going to get your opinion on this. This is a blunder. I don't care if you are the biggest PlayStation guy or gal. This is a complete blunder. That's it. There's no defending this. There's no, the P, I'm getting more P's. It's not worth it. And the fact that they have released it at this price, at this time, with no release games, right? They're charging additional monies for the stand. They're charging additional monies for the disk drive. It is bonkers to me. And again, it's not just the UK that has a near $1,000 price point after it's all said and done. If you need everything, we're talking about also in Canada. This is another step on your D moment for Sony. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's a PlayStation 3 moment for sure. It's bad. It's a bad look. You go back, like I was saying earlier, 6 years ago or whatever, when the Xbox One X came out, people were complaining that didn't have any launch titles. People were making clickbait on it. There was articles on it, and that was a mid-gen refresh. But if you go back, and those videos are still live, even the Xbox official live stream is still live. There was so much excitement about the Xbox One X because all we heard for 4 years was resolution gate, not enough grass in GTA 5, all that nonsense. And then when the Xbox One X came out, all these developers went flooding to the console because there was excitement. People were wanting a more powerful Xbox, and we got one. Hell, you can play Red Dead Redemption 2 at 4K on the thing. So, like, the developers put in the work. They wanted to put in the work, but this console has no hype at all. I've spoken to developers from some pretty big publishers, they aren't interested in this. Games are costing way too much to make. Games still aren't even really selling that well at the minute, outside of a few titles a year. And like the cost of everything in the UK has just gone way up. Like Sony's charging $100 for a disc drive. Like nobody's really ever questioned that. Like $100 for a disc drive, that doesn't even make sense. $25 for a stand. Like that's it. Like, they can't even throw in the stand for free. It's like, hey, for the fans, so you can stand your bloody console upright. No. You have to go out and buy it separately. It's ridiculous. Like everyone's been saying, pay pigs, right? Unfortunately, I hate saying this, PlayStation fans get nickeled and dimed every other day. Game prices went up to 70. We had to accept it. The PlayStation 5 went up in price, I think 3 years ago. People accepted it. You have to pay for cloud saves. Accepted it. No backwards compatibility. Accepted it. And it's just like one bad thing after another. And granted, like Xbox, they've had some misfires this year, but they've had good games. They have a good roadmap, and they just need to sort out all that crap with the fans. They need to sort out. But this, like nobody's asking for a pro console. We're 4 years into the generation. People still say and feel like this generation hasn't even started because all the game delays. How many? Like, I put it like this: every single PlayStation-centric YouTube channel at the minute has made content about the PlayStation 5 Pro and Xbox games because there's nothing to talk about when it comes to PlayStation. PlayStation has this weird thing where they announce a game maybe 2.5 to 3 years before release. And they do this with all their major AAA games, and they haven't announced any new titles. So, like, next year is going to be barren if they continue marketing games how they have done in the past. So they have this almost basically $1,000 console in the UK. Who's buying this?
It's just laughable.
And the thing is, people keep bringing up GTA 6. Let me tell you something, right? I was a GTA Online addict, right, back in the day. I'll admit it. I was obsessed with that game. And let me tell you, people they don't care how to play GTA. They just want to play GTA. People aren't going to fork out £700 for GTA 6, which is still going to be 30 frames per second on console. And the only way you're going to be playing it at 60 is when you get the PC version a year and a half later. Like, there's no reason for this console to exist. The PlayStation 5 is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I think this whole thing stems from that, this generation launched. We had 60 FPS almost in every single game out of the gate. And then in 2023, or was it 2022, we had like 2 titles, Gotham Knights and A Plague Tale Requiem or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Like those games were 30 FPS. And across the board, everybody started freaking out saying, we need more powerful hardware. So like, no, we need developers to optimize their games properly. And since then, some of those games now have 60 FPS versions. The throwing more hardware this time around at the problem isn't going to work, especially at £700. Last generation, we wanted 4K consoles because we were playing games at 720p in 2015. Nobody wants this console. And like I've been saying this since the beginning of this generation, mid-gen refreshes don't make sense this time. They just don't. Especially when the market's crashing all over the world. Nobody has any money. Hell, like I was saying before the show went live, you've got security tags on butter because butter's like £8 when it used to be £1. Like, it's stupid. It infuriates me because the pay pigs will go out and buy this. People will say power does matter and they'll like lord it over us and all that stuff. It's like last night, I was just posting about Warhammer 40k Space Marine and how cool it is, right? You're killing aliens with a chainsaw that's also a sword. And I have people replying to me saying, can't wait to play Indiana Jones on PlayStation 5 Pro. Like, they don't care. They're all about list wars and all that stuff.
Yes.
And these people will go out there and buy an $800 console just because they want to shove it in someone's face. These are the same people that spent $200 on an overpriced Android tablet that has PlayStation controllers slapped to the side and say, hey, you can stream your games to this. You can't play anything natively. And by the way, still no backwards compatibility. This console is a waste of time, effort, and space. And this is PlayStation 3 era Sony.
It absolutely is. So I went and looked at the pricing. So GameStop, which was offering for the Xbox Series X, 385, just on Monday. It is now 231. Right. Same thing with the PlayStation 5. Now, Louis, I'm gonna bring you in now. I'll catch up on the super chats. There's been a shit ton of them, and I appreciate everyone being. No. We're gonna get to you first, Louis. I want to get you. I want you to run wild with this because obviously there's a lot to cover here. Jamie, everyone that has talked about it so far has knocked it out of the park. Everyone keeps reverting back to arrogance. This is PlayStation's market leader arrogance. And I got to be honest with you, I know that they haven't mentioned it. I know we're gonna break down the games that are getting the increase or the PS5 Pro boost. There's a handful of them, most of which are first party. There are a couple of third party games there. They have mentioned that they're going to charge for this. Again, I'm not going to assume that they are. I'd like to believe that it's just going to be like the Series X, that when you put a game that has the ability to be up-resed, it's going to be up-resed for the price of free. That's what you get with Xbox. You don't get that normally with PlayStation. They charge you $10. But let's get your thoughts on this travesty of financial justice, if you will.
Boom, I'll say this and I'll say this again. I hope Big Cloud does hop in here. I mean, I hope he can actually get the chance to hop in here and say a couple comments, because seriously, I think me and Big Cloud are going to be on the same page on this one. And I keep telling people every morning, I keep telling people on my show and everything, you Sony fanboys have a problem. You guys do not go out there and put a stand on this. I mean, if I got a company charging me $700, $800 for a console, at least put the stand in there instead of charging it separately. At least, do something for me to be happy about. At least for something, if I'm going to go out there and spend $700. So I got to go pay $700 for this thing, 30 extra bucks for the stand. And if I want the disc, I got to pay an extra 80. Or if I want the disc version, pay the 30 and plus tax, it's like that $100. I mean, you guys aren't fighting this. And also, like I said, if they start with the PS5 Pro Boost and charging you $10 and you guys don't say nothing, I mean, it's a sad, sad day for you guys. And I keep on telling them, even for the PS5 Plus, they should have said something, because I remember out there someone, I don't say names, but I remember someone out there saying, well, the PS Plus is not like the Xbox Game Pass, They never try to promote this like the Xbox Game Pass. But in the mornings, I tell people, in order for PS Plus to be better, at least put one AAA game in there, 2 third-party AAA games, and a couple of indies, so people can be happy, for what they paid for that damn service. Because that was a huge price hike. I mean, how much was it? Was it $50? Or I don't remember how much was the price hike for that thing, but it was expensive, though. It was expensive. And people don't say nothing, and they keep on being quiet. They keep on shutting up. I even said for the upgrade, how come your competition is doing free upgrades for games and you got to pay these guys $10 when they can actually absorb that and give it to you for free? I don't understand why they keep chewing this up. Now, this Pro came out, $700, and now I see everybody out there giving, like I said, Jeff Keighley giving them a D. And I'm happy they're actually doing something about it. It's time for them to put the fist up with this thing. They got to talk, they got to speak, and they got to say, Sony, what's going on? Same thing happened with what they did to the PC community with, I keep talking about this because I still can't buy it, Helldivers 2. 180 countries blocked just for the PSN account. You all went with Sony instead of fighting with the PC community. Look at now. Look what happened to that game. Look how it is now. I keep telling you guys got to fight this war, because if Xbox did it, boom, we all would be here saying, oh, man, why this? I even said it this morning. Xbox will come out with the Pro right now. And if I would have seen the same thing on the Xbox, I would have said, nope, I'm not buying it. I'm not convinced. I'm not buying it because what? Just to see details? Just to see FPS run a little bit better? At least get these consoles running standard. As you guys promised, it was going to be, 4K 60 with these consoles. We have not seen that yet. I mean, of course, there's some games out there that, yes, that after a while, they get patched up to the 4K 60. But from launch, we have not seen it. There's only like a few. So why not work on the standard with these versions, right? And get this to work. And then I might look over there and beyond. But for what? For details? for to see like the like how they showed in Ratchet and Clank, like to see more a little bit of the stand. So basically, it's like how I say it. I'm gonna go play this game, right? Like for example, Call of Duty. I got everybody shooting at me right now. I got a full people shooting at me, and I'll be like, "Oh, look at their shadows. Oh, nice." While I'm taking shots from an AK-47. I mean, seriously, I'm gonna look at the shadows. I'm gonna look at the details. Oh, look at that view. And there's another guy with a bazooka trying to blow me up. I'm like, oh, look at that view. Nah. What? Nah, come on, guys. Y'all got to wake up. Y'all got to wake up and do something about this. I mean, seriously, it's irritating that y'all don't say nothing. And y'all, oh, it's okay. You know, no problem. Oh, yeah, these old games, because, man, they're bringing up back old games. These old games are running out 4K, ray tracing mode. So, wait, the PS5 doesn't do that already? I mean, supposedly it does. That's what they said at the beginning.
Right.
I mean, seriously, what are you guys trying to sell to me right now with this? I saw it this morning. It's sad. I can't believe y'all got to wake up and fight this. Come on, PS fans, fight this. Go for it. So I can cheer for you all on this one. Say, you know what? They're taking a stand. That's awesome. Finally, they're taking a stand. Because there's no way, no how y'all can sell me this as a great thing when it's not, especially with the price. Hell not. $700, $800? I ain't falling for that. No way.
Hey,
no
Boom,
way.
Yes, sir.
I gotta get you to highlight this tweet. This
Okay,
tweet I shared from
let me see.
Gaz inside of the chat. You'll see it.
Okay, hold on. What, the DM or the chat?
In the DM.
Okay, hold on. Let me get to the DM. Hold on just a second. Let's see. Oh, wow. It says it's Hargeet in the sun, who's gold, and it says, "Good morning, bastards."
It's more like, "Good morning, bastards."
So I got a question now. Is the PS5 now going to hold back the Pro? Because I mean, everybody says the Series S holds back. So is the PS5 going to hold that back too?
I am
$200 difference at least.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
so is it going to hold it back now, huh?
It's interesting. Okami 13, who's a very prominent member of the community, consistently puts out unbelievable information. He has a tweet that I got to talk about because what it does is break down. You know what? Let me catch up on super chats, and I want to break this down because again, when I said go to PC, like I'm not going to PC, but I'm also not buying a Pro. I have a PS5; it runs great. When I use it, it runs fantastic. I don't need to upgrade. Next gen, I think we're going to be paying these kind of prices, but it's going to be next gen. Like you're going to get a box that is going to be ultimately be a box that looks like an Xbox, but actually a PC. Is what you're going to get for the next Xbox, rumor anyway. But let me catch up on super chats, and then we will break down Okami 13's phenomenal point. Sith Lord says this after dropping a very generous $2 super chat: $700 for a system, plus $10 to upgrade the game. Pony up, everyone. Indeed. JJ Saying 117 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says Sony just scammed everyone. Indeed. GameStop was, this is Cullen Prime, who drops a very generous $5 super chat. Cullen says GameStop was offering $385 trade-in and now is only offering $231 after this announcement. Do not trade your stuff in. That's a ripoff. That is less than half price. GameStop can suck it. That's all I can say that. Cartoon Villain, who's been a channel member for 12 months, says, Boom, I need to up my game. I can't compete in this villainy department against Sony. Yeah, that villainy is tried and true, my friend. And listen, I don't know how you up your game. Maybe twirl your mustache because that's what they're doing right now. Now, we have a couple of channel members that have been here for a long time. Mr. Eldrick, who's been a channel member, doesn't say anything. I think that's because he's passed out because of the price. Mr. Eldrick, thank you for the support. We also have Midnight, who's been a channel member for almost 2 long years. So, Midnight, thank you so much for the support. He says the PS6 will be $700. This is a preview. I got a funny feeling it's going to be $800. If this is $700, the PS6 is going to be $1,000. There's no doubt about it. Black Helmet Man, who's been a channel member for a whopping 3 years, ladies and gentlemen. Black Helmet Man, thank you so much for the outstanding and ridiculous support. He says $700 for what? Sharper graphics that can only maybe be seen if it's zoomed in 5K, 5X, I should say. Yeah, I mean I had to blow up the screen to see what people were pointing to, and it's a slightly redder seat than before. I don't see it, but I'm not being facetious. I just don't see it. Starfield Guy drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, to put into context, 699 pounds is $915 US. Yikes. That is unbelievable. Captain Chats drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, for 820 pounds for the it says 820 for the stand and DD on top, which is the disk drive. Notice they only showed old games as well. WTF. Like I said, this got a lot of people twisted. BT Maverick 707 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, they're hiding the real price with that $700, hiding the fact that it's a digital console, $80 with the disk drive. So it's really $780 plus tax and $30 additional for the stand. Yeah, it's nickel diming 101. It is just what Sony does, and they're just gross for doing it.
The $30 for the stand is like a big slap to the face. Like that's ridiculous. $30.
Why charge for that? How dare you not throw that in the box?
Close to the same price they charge for the stand for the PS5.
Yeah, but this is the premium, right? This is the premium edition.
Premium edition. You're paying $700. I mean, they should give it to you for free.
And they're giving you an old game. They're giving you Astrobot, the first one, not even the new one, which is just. It's just crazy. It's not even a new one. I mean, if it's a new one, at least you could say I got a new game. I didn't have to spend $70. No, it's
if you're a true PlayStation fan, you should say this is some bull.
Yes, absolutely. Adidas 20 drops, who's been a channel member for 20 months, brother. Thank you so much for the support. Good move, Sony, with Call of Duty coming up in Game Pass. Sell your PlayStations. There's no value. Yeah, like I don't see how, if you are someone that's on PS4, it's going to potentially upgrade. Why would you go to the Pro? Listen, I don't know. Will Broke Boy. Oh wait, hold on a sec. Parksy, 1972, has been a channel member for a long 4 months. Parksy, thank you so much for the support, brother. He says works out to over $915 in the UK, over $1,000 with the disc drive and stand. That's just madness. Will Broke Boy Lewis drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, if Korkenstein hasn't stole my point again, the price of the PS5 Pro may actually convince PS4 owners to finally upgrade to the regular PlayStation 5. I mean, it's definitely possible. But even then, I mean, just buy a Series S. If you're on a PlayStation 4 or Pro, graphics don't matter to you. You're just happy to be playing the games. Now, I'm not saying that you should just settle for a Series S. You could get a Series X, which you should, because it is the better console. Now, the Pro is going to be better at certain things, and it's going to up certain things that there's going to be a pinch better. But is it worth all of that money for a stand, for a disc drive, for the console? I don't think it is. Michael Mooney drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, a good way to show how they overpriced the Pro is to go watch the FSR DLSS on-off videos for PC games. Yep, there you go. And we're going to get to what Okami had to say. He actually said something similar. Adidas 20 says this after dropping an additional $2 super chat. Dr. Pepper, $700, has no haptic kickstand. It's pretty ridiculous. Giggity08 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, this has the PS3 announcement, get a second job vibe. That's what I said. I literally said that, brother. Great point. Chief Master drops a very generous $5 super chat And he says this, I believe this is different than the PS3 era. This is a pro system for a hardcore Sony fan. I mean, yes, when they told you to go out and get a second job, which was unbelievable, but they did say that this is different, but it's almost not, because if you just look at, hey, we're throwing this out there, it does have some advantages, but it's not rocket science incredible. But we're also in a recession. Who cares? Again, it's not one-to-one energy, but it's just arrogance across the board, because again, just yesterday they raised the controllers without telling anyone by $5. So just gross all around. Royal Boyle 78 drops a very generous $5 super chat. And Royal goes on to say $700 for a freaking pixel enhanced performance mode. GTFO. You know what that means, folks. I did not see enough of a difference to justify upgrading. May bomb faster than Concord. Indeed, that is something to be said. Jay Rambert drops a very generous $10 super chat. He says the PS5 Pro is a Series X with more ray tracing. Phil Spencer was right yet again. On another note, this is a prime opportunity for Microsoft to take advantage of Sony's blunder, and I don't think that they will. Now, what does he mean by that? I think what he means is maybe coming in with a price decrease just in time for Call of Duty's release.
So,
right?
But wait, Boom. But I mean, they've been decreasing the price. I mean, I saw the Series X at $480. I saw the Series X.
They are.
They've been doing that. They've been doing that lately, and probably by Black Friday, though. I mean, Black Friday, there's probably going to be a big decrease in price, and I'm saying probably because we all know how hardware sold this year everywhere.
I mean, if they go 300, 350, that would be.
There's going to be
even they brought it down to $399. Like if they drop the Series S to $250, if they drop the Series X to $399, it's going to fly off shelves, and Call of Duty's in Game Pass. That's how you put the screws to Sony. That's how you become market leader. That's how you change ideology. Because Sony is not going to lower. Just imagine this for a second. And I'll finish off the super chats here. You know why Sony isn't going to lower the price? Because what it's going to do is make the PS5 Pro even that more gross looking. Here's a $700 device with more money for a disk drive and a toothpick stand for additional $30. Oh, and by the way, you can get the PS5 version for $399. It's not going to be a good look. That's why this thing is $700, and the PS5 Pro that was just raised in Japan is going to stay exactly where it is, because they do not want to budge, and that is arrogance. That's why they will not budge. It will make, if you lower the price of the PS5 regular and then you compare them in the stores, you're going to say, why is the Pro now $300 better? It's not going to make any sense. Sony will not do that. They've already shot themselves in the foot with this price, and it's a conversation that is going to rage on for weeks. We have here.
I was going to say, Boom, real quick. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Xbox had their eyes on that presentation, and they're in the war room right now, probably deciding
100%.
What their holiday lineup's going to be. $400 for a Series X versus $800, and I get hundreds of games access to day one for only $20, or pay $70 for titles with $120 yearly with Prime, or the Plus. It just doesn't make sense, Yeah,
and Plus is actually $180 a year now.
Yeah, for the full. Yeah, you're right.
So, which is ridiculous.
It all depends on how heavy Microsoft wants to go into actually competing.
They should go for boot on next season. Hashtag
Absolutely.
boot on next season. Start immediately in the war room right now. Okay. What needs to happen, Microsoft? I know you watch the show, and I'm humbled beyond words because we're so small of a channel. It's unbelievable that anyone at Microsoft even knows that we exist, right? Hold on a sec. We got Hargeet Chani flying in here. Let me just set it up for the brand. I'm going to get his hot take over here in a second. Hargeet, we're going to come to you in a second. I just got to finish super chats, but I have a point. This particular situation that we see in front of us, ladies and gentlemen, is like this. When Xbox came out for the Xbox One and said, here's our $500 box that comes with a camera that spies on you, right? And there's no DRM, and this is how you share games, right? Remember that? How Sony literally won the console generation just based on that video right there. This is that moment for Xbox right now. It has happened right now. They need to respond. They have the better console in the market right now. The PS5 Pro is going to be better than the Series X, but by a pinch, ladies and gentlemen, not by leaps and bounds. Okay? They have a streaming service called Xbox Game Pass that's $20 a month, and day one in a couple of weeks is the biggest game to launch this year, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. They need to go full on marketing blitz and get people to not only buy their consoles, which have been struggling, but Sony literally just shot themselves in the foot offering a $700 Pro version. It is crazy. They need to take advantage of it. Fantasy Archer says this after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. Tinfoil Thought. Still think the PS5 Pro price, shabby PC support for PSVR 2, and existence of Portal are all used to strictly push PS5 sales. Crazy thought. I mean, we just had a stat that 3% of PlayStation 5 gamers bought the Portal. 3%. Think about that for a second, folks. That's a fail. That's why they don't talk about it, right? That's why. We have Aries EMS or underscore EMS, who's been a channel member for 6 months. Thank you so much, Aries, for that. Average consumer must decide to spend $700 on 10% uplift or buying groceries and paying rent. Not really a hard choice. I mean, that's a great point. Dreadful Sean drops a very generous $10 super chat. And it's Dread. It's great to see you here in the chat, brother. Thank you for the generosity. I'm glad I don't game on PlayStation. I get bent over enough with no lube at my job. Oh no, hashtag pause. Don't want it to happen in my hobbies. Hashtag no Diddy. There you go. Torino Johnson drops a very generous $5 super chat and says simply, just some support. Boom, brother. Thank you. It's very kind of you. We appreciate it. Gray Fox 020 drops a £2 super chat and says €80. Greetings to Boom and panel from Amsterdam. Yeah, so it would be €80. 800 euro. Yeah, which is ridiculous. Wow.
We'll need some of that good stuff from Amsterdam to get us.
Yeah, in the brownies. Don't eat the brownies if you are driving. I will say that. Don't do it. Will Broke Boy Lewis
that in with the PS5 Pro.
Oh my God. Has gifted 5 double barrel gaming memberships. Will, brother, I think it's very kind of you. Thank you for the ridiculous support. Dave Reezy drops a very generous $2 super chat and says Mark Cerny equals snake and oil salesman. Indeed, he does. Simon Brandy drops a very generous £2 super chat and says PS5 in the UK equates to $914 if you think US has it bad. I mean, there you go. Wow. Aries underscore EMS has gifted 10 double barrel gaming memberships. That is incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for the support. 2 more super chats, and then we will get Hargeet, who's laughing inside, and he's going to be laughing on the outside momentarily. We have Jimbo Jangles, good friend of ours, all the way from Colorado, who drops a very generous $20 super chat. He says, man, after this done announcement, Nintendo has an amazing opportunity to swoop in and reveal a console that people actually want. Sony swung and missed today. I'd love to see Xbox and Nintendo counter with something exciting indeed. And lastly, Mr. Nix drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, here's how Microsoft wins. $199 for the Series S and Game Pass 1 year. Yeah, if they ever did a low, like if they dropped it for $200 during Black Friday, it is going to break records, just like the PS4 did. Remember when the PS4 Slim came out and Sony released it with Spider-Man? It was $200. It broke Black Friday records that have never even been touched since. Hargeet, glad you're here, brother. You're laughing, you're smiling as you always are. This is a laugh riot. Let's get your hot take on this blunder, because that's ultimately what it is.
So I didn't watch the whole 9 minutes. I wasn't going to watch his thing because Mark Cerny is the driest person I've ever heard of in tech. I don't know what the heck it is with him. It's like, I think this is going to be very cool, and you should dude. Any energy at all?
Magical. He's magical. What are you talking about? He's man. Listen, this guy's heartbeat. I kind of disagree with you on this one. This guy's the man. He literally told people the SSD was the power, and everybody believed him. I mean, how come you gotta listen to him, man? You gotta listen.
He was tired, Hargeet. He'd already hit 4 bodies in the backyard. He's tired, man. He just wanted to get the specs out there a little bit. That's it.
It was like an ASMR Twitch asking for subs and donos. Like, it was just so bad.
So I've caught bits and pieces of what actually got revealed. From what I understand, 45% increase in GPU, what he calls speed. I'm not sure what that really means, but let's presume it's somehow in T-flops. It's 45% more. Okay, cool. The memory is increased by 28%, which puts it just about a little pinch higher than where the Xbox Series X already is. They're at 560. They were at 448. They're now at 576 on the Pro. Cool. Pretty much what you got with the Series X. The CPU goes up to 385. Xbox has 2 modes, 3.6 and 3.8. So that's pretty much what the Series X already has. And then the PSSR, which is the big feature, actually, right? There's some ray tracing capabilities. I should put that in as well. But the PSSR, which could be a pretty big deal. We have to see how it's implemented, how well it works. But that's essentially what NVIDIA does. They kind of bake in their ability to do that. And so they're that is the capability here. So it may be very good. We'll see what that does to it, right? So getting to that faux 4K might be more feasible here. We'll see if it looks nicer. Cool. $700. Well, we were all kind of predicting this. At least I was. $700. That's what it's going to be. $700. Why? Because Xbox is putting out $600. And if you're going to have something better, it's going to be more. They have to market it more. They can't say it's the same as that. So it's going to be $700. So there it is. $700. Take it, ponies. Take it. Enjoy your $700.
Take it on the chin.
The problem is it's getting to the point now where you're like, just how much more to get a PC?
Okay, it's funny that you should say that, because I have something queued here. And again, I want to welcome in nearly 1,300 live viewers across X and YouTube. I really, honestly, this is a super small channel. We absolutely appreciate everyone checking us out here today. If you're enjoying the banter, if you are someone that found the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. My wife and I are on the hunt for 16K. We hit 15 a couple of weeks ago. It's a really big deal for us. So, Hargeet, you mentioned PC. So I found this post from Okami13_. Now, he follows me. I follow him. He is a phenomenal member of the community. He talks about gaming as a whole. He posts on a regular basis, consistently putting out amazing posts. Well, he did it again, because this is what he had to say. Now, he says, I put together a quick mid-range PC build for about $1,300. And then he goes on to say the PS5 Pro plus disk drive is $780 before tax. For about $500 more, this is what you will get instead of buying a PS5 Pro. You get free online, free cloud saves, much cheaper games, mods, higher fidelity and frame rates, PC Game Pass with day one Xbox games plus hundreds of other titles, PS5 exclusives 1 to 2 years later after launch, DLS with frame gen, the ability to tweak and customize your settings, the ability to upgrade one PC part at a time if you choose, and countless other benefits of PC gaming. So think about that. Think about that list, Hargeet, that he just gave us. I'm going to go right back to you on it. This is what you're talking about. For $500 more, you get all of this stuff.
Well, let me throw this in the private chat. This is on their site. No discounts, no sales. Lenovo has an $850 4060 enabled PC. all built, pre-built, everything's there. It's Windows 11, all just there for you. 16 gigs of memory, a 4060 NVIDIA GPU. So this is the thing, and you can look for deals. Like I'm sure if you like really hunt, you pick this thing up for like $600.
Yep.
And at some point, you just have to ask, okay, how bad is it to deal with drivers versus $700 for something that plays one platform's worth of games? Because when you're on this, you get Game Pass, you get Ubisoft Plus, you get EA Play, you get every game in Epic, every game in Steam, all of Microsoft, and that includes Game Pass. So what is it that's the downside with this versus that? And the Game Pass you get here is cheaper than the one you get on console.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
And so to put that in perspective, on discount, if you try to buy the Game Pass for PC, it's about $65 to $70 a year. That's one game. If you want Call of Duty, you just paid $65, $70 for that Game Pass PC. You got Call of Duty plus everything else. Just think of that, right? So PC starts to become pretty compelling. Now, if you instead look at what they've done with the Series S, a couple of the last few years, if you look for the deals, that thing was down to like $190 at times. You can get that thing $200, even $230. Now you're talking, right? $230 console. You got all the ease of use, way more cost effective. That makes sense. People keep saying that the Series S is a mistake. It's the potato. It's like, no. That's what a console should be. That's what a console should be. That's what you should be getting, right? It's something that is targeted, low cost, medium range performance, and it gives you good enough gaming. That's the point of a console. Right. People now somehow want it to be a freaking 4090. Those were the remarks that were really 4090, right? So look, this is like, it's a good upgrade. Fair enough. It's something marginal. But for $700, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Now, there's still going to be enthusiasts out there that are going to jump on this 100%. Go ahead. Why not? And you know why I think it makes sense to do this? How many people are going to buy this? Not a lot. For those who are going to buy it, why should they take a bath? Why should they take a bath? They might as well make money off of it, right? Let's say they sell 5 million of these. Maybe they sell 10 million of these. Cool. Might as well make money. If they make 100, 150 each, let's pocket it, right? Because the people who are going to buy this are enthusiasts enough that they're going to do that anyway. Now, here's the other problem. Why this is going to happen. When they released the PS5, the majority of them went to scalpers. They didn't go to customers. And they saw what people were willing to pay the scalpers. It wasn't $500, $600, $700, $800. Someone would pay up to $1,000, $1,400. They were paying ridiculous amounts of money to get a PS5, not the Pro. So they see this. They see this. They see, like, okay, they'll pay, right? And I think people in the chat have pointed out, this is an option. You still have the base. It's still there. You still got the PS5. So if you really want to get in on the low, you can. But if you really, really want to get in the low, you got the Series S. And that's going to be the big tussle here. It's always going to be the lower end. And the question is how many want the higher end. And now you can kind of see from their Pro how close we were with the Series X to being at the Pro level already, right? They kind of gave that to us right at the beginning. It's basically the same CPU. It's basically the same memory performance. The GPU goes from 12.15 to 14.9, theoretically, because they didn't tell us exacts, right? But theoretically, it's about that. So you do get a little bit of a bump there. Is that going to be massive? It's the same as what you're getting from the PS5 to the Series X today. Is that massive? Nah, sometimes you recognize it. I think the big one will be the ray tracing capability and the PSSR, how well that will work. We'll see how that helps, right? That is actually pretty cool. So we'll see how that helps, elevate the game. But that's essentially it. We got that when we got the Series X. That's kind of what Xbox decided to do. There's like, we'll just give you the mid-gen now, and we'll give you the low end, which you can easily get into. It's more cost effective, right? Fair enough. So we got both right at the beginning. You're getting this one now. $700 though is, it just from a optics perspective, is rather alarming. It just is.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things you're like, yo, this is worse than when you came out with the freaking PS3.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Again, thankfully, it is the second tier, the higher tier, so people hopefully won't go ape over it. But the other part is Nintendo is coming up with a freaking console announced pretty soon too.
Yeah.
And if that console is halfway decent, it's gonna overshadow this big time. Whatever. We'll see how that goes. I've been noticing that sales of Xbox, apparently, even though everybody says it's dead, have been increasing in all those territories where everybody says that Xbox is nothing. They've been going up. It's still high on Yodobashi in Japan. It's number 3 in Yodobashi in Japan. It's beating Nintendo. But hey, we'll see what that means. It's doing better in EU as well. Several places in the EU series, consoles have been selling more. Whether it's the S or the X, it just depends on the territory. If you compare apples to apples as far as the higher end tier now, the Series X all digital is $450. This is $700, right? Because both don't come with a disc drive. Yeah, that's a hefty jump. It will have to prove itself out quite a bit to make that viable. Now, for brand recognition, people who want to buy a PlayStation anyways, yeah, that is probably not going to be the decision maker. But for those who are looking to just get into the next gen, especially if you're on a PS4 or an Xbox One, are you really going to spend $700? Or are you just going to say, you know what, that $250 bundled with whatever COD or something like that, that sounds better to me. I'll go get that.
I think that's what Xbox is waiting for. To be quite fair, to be fair here, I really think that the Series S is going to be the driving force for them during Black Friday. I think they're going to slap Call of Duty on the box, and I think
they should.
The numbers don't lie. Over 50% of current PlayStation users are on a PS4 or a PS4 Pro. Over 50%. So if you're going to get those folks to upgrade, which we saw a lot of that transition when NCAA 25. Now, obviously, FIFA is still multi-generational, but NHL 25 is not. NHL is next gen only. So you're gonna start to see that. Look, real quick, but again, we're closing in on the 90-minute mark. I want to get everyone's thoughts on the games that are going to be enhanced, and then we'll get everyone out of here. This is the list coming directly from Jeff Keighley. The following games are set for PS5 Pro enhanced versions: Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is not out yet, Demon Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Forbidden West, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Ratchet and Clank Ripped Apart, the Crew Motorfest, The First Descendant, and lastly, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Those are the games that are enhanced. That's
remastered them are remastered.
For the third remastered of Last of Us Part 2. Fine, whatever. Again, we have a lot of people here. I don't want to spend a ton on this because look, let's just start in order. Korkenstein, this is a very small list of games for a $700+ console. I don't think it's worth it personally. Who did we lose here? We lost Korkenstein. Okay, so Jamie Moran, let's get your hot take on this, and we will get everyone out of here. What are your thoughts?
It's not impressive. like there's thousands of games available, and that's a small, piddly little list. Now, granted, I do think things like Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm sure that'll play great on the console. But like seeing Hogwarts Legacy listed there, that game already has, if I remember correctly, it has 5 display modes.
It does.
So
yeah.
So
multiples.
now one of those will be, I assume, 4K 60. But looking at the whole list, it's okay. There's some older titles there by PlayStation. Some new titles aren't there, like Space Marine 2 isn't there, which is kind of surprising. It's
Astronaut's not there. Concord. Yeah. Someone just asked, why isn't Concord there? Well, Concord's dead. So
yeah. It's not an impressive list, and obviously they'll add games over time, but look from an optic perspective, look online, nobody's impressed, and looking at that list alone, it's not a good start.
Yeah, it's just not. Umbra, or $700 Umbra, I should say. Let's get your final take on this. That list is not impressive at all. It just really isn't. And I think it comes up short. To be honest with you, it should have been all of their first party games. Now, the one thing that, if anyone can please correct me here, they charge for upgrades. Are these automatic upgrades, or are they charging for them? Can anyone confirm or clarify that? Because again, if you buy a PS5 version of a game, it's $10. If you so now we have a list of games that are going to have pro versions. Is that going to be $10 or $15? Is that going to cost the consumer extra money? I don't know. They didn't mention it. I didn't see anyone talking about it, but I thought I would bring it up. Umbra, let's get your final thoughts.
Again, I wouldn't be surprised. If they tried to, for instance, move the price up for gaming up to $80, I can see Sony eventually trying that.
Interesting, dude. Interesting.
I'll add another wrinkle. I think this $700 tag tells us that next gen is going to be about priced the same at the entry.
Yeah.
So it's a few interesting things to get from this. You hit it on the head when you were reading Kami's tweet, and I mean, I've been enlightened to get to PC, and I'm not trying to rub that in anybody's faces, but if you are seriously considering getting this, just save your money and get a PC. It's not as difficult as people think. I used to think the same thing with you gotta upgrade this. You don't have to. It's not that hard. Get you a capable pre-built Hargeet chair. The one I looked at, I might have to grab that for my podcasting, man. And I mean, it's not as crazy as you think. And that's a 4060 right here he shared. It's like $100 more than the PS5 Pro. Like, it's ridiculous. I see no need for this thing. If it would have had a crazy upgrade, I'd have been like, yeah, okay, I can see that being justified. I don't think it's justified. And if you look at the images and screen caps people have got, it's like they said corporate, for one of the tweets, they said corporate wants you to find a difference between these two images. And it's like, you can't tell. It looks the exact same. It's a very minuscule difference. And I think the reason why that is, again, is because these are games that they can't really do much more with. I think already they were visually pleasing. I don't think it really does more to help those games outside of frame rate. And I don't know who anybody was like, yeah, I got to play The Last of Us Part 2 remaster over in 60 frames now. I don't think anybody's really thinking like that. So while I am torn, because I do believe our Hoove brothers will absolutely shell out the money for this foolishly. And well, to be fair, it is their money. I can't tell them what to do.
I know we don't pocket watch anybody, brother. If you want to spend the money, by all means, spend the money. If you have to spend the money, then buy what you want. But I don't think that the investment's worth it. That's just me.
I don't think it is either. To each their own. I can't tell anyone what to do with their money. But I'm just looking at that price, and I'm like, you just get yourself a PC at that point if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Why not? At that point, just get that. I see this as so many different things I get from this. And again, it goes back to, like we mentioned earlier, the arrogance of it, but it's also, I think it goes to the feeling that I don't think Sony sees Microsoft as, any specific direct competition as much as they did before, because they figure we can put this out there and it'll sell. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested in seeing how it does when it's out in the wild. We'll see.
Indeed. Let's crazy new game. Let's get your hot take on
Boom,
this, brother.
boom, boom. Before you get me, I gotta say this. So I have not heard Crispy say one thing out of this whole episode.
Sure he did. He
did?
hadn't calling you before? Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Oh my!
I love you, brother. Dude, there's a lot of people. I'm used to 3. There's a lot of people in here.
I am so freaking crispy bomb. This is my brother, ladies and gentlemen, and I literally silenced my brother live on the air. Crispy, listen, folks, we're gonna hang out a little bit longer. I got to get Crispy's hot take on this because obviously I'm a terrible freaking host. Crispy, please, let's get your hot take on it. Again, I deserve to be banished. Indeed, we'll talk afterwards, but my humble apologies. Let's get
it's all good, man. Like, let's be honest, okay? If you're a consumer, okay, and you understand that money has value, like, even though like money is paper or digital or whatever it may be, money has value to you. Okay, not to anyone else. That's what it is. PlayStation said, F you. We got a great console, which I didn't see much. I'm going to be honest. But you know what? I had the 1X blinders on back in the day. And I said, oh, okay, like Gears looks really good. Looks like they're going to do something with it. And they did. Took a little time. Fact is, we don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to charge you $10 to upgrade? Are they going to, charge you $5 for controller, even though the controller is the same as it always has been? Are they going to charge you more for their service that doesn't have exclusive games in said service? Right. It's up to you as a human being to understand, hey, this is what I want no matter what. That's where we go and say, like, the stands, they're going to hype this up until no end. And don't get me wrong. I had a 1X. I had the Scorpio edition sitting right next to me. What are we talking about here? All right. Everybody was touting this as the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I say, hold yourself back a little bit. And then what they showed, and then, I mean, why you got to have Mark Cerny, dude? Like, I'm with Umbra,
he's not a good
dude.
presenter. Like,
he feels cringe all the way through. And I put out a tweet. It's about 19 hours ago right now. I said $700. Mark
Did
Cerny.
You really? I didn't
but
see
wait, there's more. Okay. I was completely right. I didn't think I went for 700 because I was like, the way everybody's talking, this is supposed to be some kind of premium product that is absurd. And I'm like, whoa. I mean, I could start out a PC really nice at $700. Why the hell would I do that? And that comes from somebody. Well, that comes from somebody that doesn't have a PlayStation 5. That read through the tea leaves. Like, we hear about FPS, and this is what, let's be honest, Phil, you did it. Okay, you went FPS, but the exclusives came out in 4K. Okay, and people don't talk about this, but then I go and say, okay, you're coming out with this price tag of a console, and you didn't speak about resolution at all. There's a problem here, but that's besides the point. They might clean it up, make it look good. They've done it before. They'll do it again. And that's where I say, look, if you want a premium console right now and want to pay less, like $200 less, somewhere around there, get a Series X. Trust me. You might not like the controller at first because you're used to a PlayStation controller, but I'm going to tell you right now, they do it right. They understand that you're a gamer and you want to play games. You want to play Madden? Hey, you got a 20-hour trial if you subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get those things. Like, yeah, you get 20 hours and then you can figure out, hey, I'm not gonna buy this. That's okay. EA Play is good with that. They've been there forever. They've been there before, most of these other, like, add-ins to Game Pass. So, I mean, you want to be pro-consumer, you want to not be pro-consumer, and that's up to you. But don't talk out of both sides of your mouth and act like I don't see it. Because trust me, I see it. And that's all I'm going to say.
I mean, you're not wrong. Again, this is, look, Crispy has a PC gamer in the house, right? His stepson is PC elitist, no doubt about it. I guarantee if you asked him what would he rather have, he definitely will stay with the PC. There's just no doubt about it. The price of admission, Crispy, is just not warranted. And if you are someone, and you know what, let me get your hot take on this, Crispy. There is some now there's conversations that Sony is going to somehow cut their own nose off to spite their face and lower the PS5. I'm against that. I think that if they do that, the PS5 Pro looks even worse. at $700 just for the base digital model. If you want the disc drive, it's $80. If you want the stand, it's an additional $30. After tax, you're talking $1,000. It has a pack in, but it's an old game. It's not even the new Astrobot, which that one to me is a bit of a conundrum. Thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, that's the opportunity. You know, we saw like pack-ins with Xbox over the years, like even like Arkham Knight. I played that on the One.
Yeah.
After they got rid of the Kinect, and I bought the One at 400 rather than 500. I was frugal at the time. I'm not saying everybody has to be the way I am, but that's the point. Like, I played that game through and through. The only thing that got me was the riddles. So I look at games and I say, like, you have the opportunity. The riddles, oh my God, I hate them. But, you know, you look at the way games are played, and like back when we, like, you know, were really deciding, I feel it's a trend now. It's like, okay, let me have that 700, and maybe Sony's on to something. I don't know. But I want that $700 console so I can go and, you know, look down at people and be like, oh, you couldn't get that. Me, if I boot it up on my Samsung TV, which, you know, like a TV is different. It's a multimedia thing. Okay, your phone is a multimedia thing. You invest in it because you have multiple different iterations of things you can do within that said platform. And I think Microsoft and Xbox has embraced that and said, look, like, you know, it might be something that we are not really a part of, but we will partner with them and say, okay, we're good. Like, you know, like sell our brand in some way. And they happen to make a good product when it comes to, you know, distributing their media within said ecosystem, which might be a Samsung TV, might be an LG TV. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Sony might come out with this PS5 Pro and be like, oh, buy a Sony TV later. And they might try to sell you like that. They might down the price. Maybe they drop it $100. You don't know what they're going to do. What I would really love is at the Game Awards, Microsoft drops the next gen and drops a handheld slash docked console like the Switch, but is like 20 times more powerful. Just absolutely, because you remember
it's going to be a
monster.
The presentation.
No
about it. Yeah,
PlayStation said AI. Who's more at the forefront of AI? And that's what Sarah Bond said. Sarah Bond said, you're going to be impressed. You know what I mean? And that's without going through her entire conversation, but you're going to be impressed with what we have going on. And that's okay. Like, be silent right now, but, you know, even if it's a couple weeks from now, having a small, you know, like a game demo or something like that could be, you know, impactful. I don't know, but I think we look at gaming in a different way than we used to. And I think, you know, I've embraced it in a way, but also I'm with like you, Boom. Like, dude, like sometimes it's like, dude, like come out with like and say, F you, Sony. You know what I mean? Like, we want that, but at the same time, I don't hate that they're like, hey, Call of Duty, you know, that beta is still, you know, you posted it. The beta is still running because
it's over now. My heart is broken because I can't go to it. Stopped yesterday around 8 o'clock, I think it was. I maxed out my level. I'm not a Call of Duty guy. Like that's the thing I really wanted to. Again, I don't want to get off track because I really want to get everyone out of here. But I'm not a Call of Duty guy. I haven't been a Call of Duty player, a multiplayer, since like the 360 days. And I stopped everything. I got up to level 30. There were matches where I was getting 30 plus kills on average on the boards. Like I was smoking dudes. And I'm an old man, you know what I'm saying? So I am all into it. But listen, Crispy, again, apologies for skipping you. I can't believe I did that. What a knucklehead. But great points all around. Look, at the end of the day, folks, this is another blunder. I know there's going to be people out there that are going to try and paint this picture for you. I don't think that you can. I don't think anyone can say that in defense of this is a great move for Sony. We're going to talk about it. We're going to continue. I'm going to build some shows around it. The one thing that I have not seen, the price should be criticized, as we have all done, especially if we're talking about the era that we're currently living in. Not 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, in 2024, where we are right now. But there's also a conversation that has not happened, especially in the gaming media, and that is anyone saying, how come there is not a launch title for this new console? Because that's what happened with the Series 1X. Remember that, folks. That was a running narrative. How dare they have Lucky's Tale as a launch title, right? Well, they don't have a launch title. I mean, Astro isn't even on the list of enhanced games, either of them, which is weird. Like, it's a pack-in that doesn't enhance the game because it's not on the list. Is that not weird to anybody? No one's talking about that. Maybe nobody wants to talk about it. Maybe their partners.
That was gonna be my point. Is there's one new game, and that's the Assassin's Creed. Everything else is an old game, and it's like, what, you have nothing new coming? Like, all the slate of games that are coming, none of them are like which one? Dragon Age is coming. That's not up. Like, what? Nothing really. Okay.
But not people want to play Indiana Jones on it, according to the press. We will see. Listen,
do you think that they will lower the price of the PS5 base in the holidays this season?
I mean, they usually do anyways, right? So I don't think they're gonna like lower the price permanently, but there'll be sales. I think that'll definitely happen, but I don't think they're changing the pricing for PS5. Like, it's $700 because they're keeping the price where it is. Otherwise, they would have tiered everything down. I don't think they're tiering anything down.
I think
there'll be sales.
I mean, yeah, sure. There's going to be sales, no doubt about it. They're gonna lower it. The problem is that if they lower it, which they just raised it in Japan, if they lower it too much, it's going to make the Pro look ridiculous. Like, what are we getting for this additional $300? Sony? I don't know.
For the first phase of this, it's going to be the very high enthusiasts who are going to buy it anyway, right? And they will pay $1,000 to a scalper. So it is what it is. And by the way, yes, the majority of these are going to be sold to scalpers. Just own it. It is what it is.
FYI. So yes.
If you want to buy one of these, be ready to plunk down $1,000 or more, depending on where you are in the world, because it's much more expensive elsewhere, to pay a scalper for this thing, because that's how it's going to be. But yeah, no, I mean, the PS5 itself is just, it's going to like do its sales, but so is Xbox. And by the way, we're still due for an announcement for Nintendo. So we'll see how that goes.
Indeed. Louis, what are your final thoughts on the game list not having a launch game for a new system? Because again, you've personally made mention of this. Remember what happened with the series, the Xbox One X? It was lambasted by the press. Right, Lucky's Tale, which by the way I beat. I quite enjoyed it because I like platforms. But that was their launch title, and they got lambasted for it. No launch title and no enhancements to either of the Astrobot games. Very strange indeed.
I mean, they gotta have at least a launch title. I mean, they had Astrobot that just came around, the Gotti, the everything, the
game of the year.
The game of the year. I mean, they put so many titles on that game, and it's they should at least have it with the Pro. I mean, they should at least have that game with the console for launch time. They should have that game on there. And it's a shame. Like I said, these guys aren't out there finding it. I already saw a couple of people out there on Twitter saying, "Yeah, I will go buy it day one." Okay, go ahead and buy it. I mean, if you want to buy it, go ahead and buy it. But me, like I said, what's the difference? A little bit of visual. Like I said, I'm gonna be playing Call of Duty, and what, I'm gonna be staring at a shadow. I'm gonna stare at the enemy suit while he's shooting at me with the gun. I mean, I'm not focused on that stuff. I mean, there's a spot in the game where you take a chill and you look at things like, wow, this is beautiful. But it's like how I said this morning, they need to sit down and convince me, like, beyond what's going on right now, what else is out there? I mean, because look, they're already using Unreal Engine 5 to make movies. They're using that. I mean, I remember seeing the Sony convention. They said they're using Unreal Engine 5 to do some movies. I mean, what else after that is out there? What? Just this little small details, and basically that's it. And we have not seen like the full power of none of these consoles yet. There is some more power to take out of these regular consoles that are out here, right? From the Series X, from the PS5.
Yes.
There's we still have not seen them go full power, like 100% power. You know, where it blows up in your face pretty much. We have not seen that. So how is that going to convince me to go buy something if we have not seen over here the full power? I mean, seriously, there's no convincing. At the end of the day, what? Just to see a couple details? Nah, I'm all set. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with what I have. And like I said, if Xbox was doing this and I would have saw the same thing, I would have even said the same thing right now. I mean, you all got to convince me to do that jump. Seriously. And I don't see that there is a jump.
You're not wrong. Listen, let me catch up on Super Chats, everyone. We'll get everyone out of here. Hargeet, obviously, tomorrow evening, we're going to have a lot to discuss, and there's going to be more, obviously, information that's should come out of this. Again, I watched the presentation. I've always said this about, I know people like, oh, he looks like Dana Carvey. If someone said it, and I'm going to read it in a second. He does. Looks like the church lady from Saturday Night Live. He does. I'm not going to front. I know some people said some pretty bad things about his looks. I don't care about any of that. I'm just going to say that he's a very, very smart man, super genius, no doubt about it. He is a terrible speaker and a terrible presenter. He just is. It went off exactly how I thought it was going to be. It was only a 9-minute thing. I knew that this was going to, I had a feeling, and I didn't say anything to anyone because I'm not saying that I'm right. In my gut, in my belly, I felt this was going to be a train wreck of an announcement, and it turned out to be just exactly that. Julia, who's been a channel member for, 36 months, doesn't even say anything. So thank you so much for being supporting the channel that long. That is very generous of you. We greatly appreciate it. Will Broke Boy Lewis says, here it is, $2 super chat. Anyone else think that Mark Cerny looks like Dana Carvey? I mean, he does. It's crazy. Dan the Man Cunningham drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, don't be surprised to see an exclusive PS5 Pro mode for 60 frames per second for GTA next year and angle it like it's the Series X couldn't do it. Wait and see. Look, I'm not a tech guy, and I'm probably talking out of turn here. I just don't see GTA 6 being 60 frames. I just don't. It's going to be 30 frames. It really is. That is across the board. SX Pro and PS5. It's not going to have a 60 frame mode. The game is too big. It is a massive undertaking for these consoles. There's just no way it's going to be 60. I could be 1,000% wrong, and maybe I am, but I expect that to release at 30. I really, really do. Hadari Mac drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I don't see third parties putting much effort into this extra $700 console. What size is the total of PlayStation 5 market do you think will actually make it up? Yeah, he says 6 or 7%. I mean, it was 10% with the PS4 Pro versus the PS4. That you're going to probably get a little. I think you're onto something. I think your 6 or 7% is correct. Those are the ultra enthusiasts, like Hargeet said, that are going to buy this. That's all they're going to sell to. And obviously, I think he's right where he says that most of these consoles are going to be sold to scalpers. There's just no doubt about it. And they're going to be somebody in a Hollywood Undead mask in a garage with 800 of them. That's what's going to wind up happening. And it's going to anyone that's Hollywood Undead. I love that band. They're great. They always wear masks. That's who's going to be having a garage full of 800 of these things, and they're going to sell them for $2,000 a piece, and people are going to buy them, which is just don't do that. Let's see. Mr. Nix drops an additional $2 super chat and says, no one can get a PS5 Pro, resell it, build a 4070 Ti PC. I mean, you're not wrong. Will Broke Boy Lewis drops an additional $2 super chat and says, I guess PlayStation is going to beat scalpers by being them. I mean, Great
Who
point.
scalps the scalpers?
Who scalps the scalpers? Indeed, sir. Ultraman drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hey, Boom, I hit the lottery and now I have enough for the down payment of a PlayStation 5 Pro. LOL." We have here double K24, who's been a channel member for nearly 40 months. Double K, thank you so much for the generosity, brother. He says, "What's good, panel? They are now blaming Microsoft for this price of the PlayStation 5 Pro, saying that Sony doesn't have competition. Wow, after they want Xbox gone." I have not seen that, Ultraman, but if I see somebody that actually says that, they're getting the block, because I can't live in this world where you're going to blame Microsoft for this. They might as well blame the S for this. This is the S's fault. It's always the S's fault. We have Silly Mikey drops a very generous $7 super chat. And Silly Mikey says, "It's pretty obvious that they're relying on GTA 6 to sell the PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, they're probably going to run it. And again, they have marketing. Again, that's the rumor. It hasn't been official. I believe that official announcement is going to come during the Game Awards. It's just my hot take. I don't have it on authority, but there's another trailer happening, and it's probably going to have PlayStation 5 Pro branding potentially. We'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, we had a ridiculous amount of new watchers. So a lot of names I've never seen before in the chat. If you're lurking and you didn't get into the chat, welcome as always. This is Double Barrel Gaming. Normally, this is the Xbox Factor podcast, a show that happens every Tuesday at noon. Here on the channel, we live stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, all different shows, all different panels. And normally I don't forget people that are on my panel, like my actual brother, Crispy Bomb. So apologies again for the ridiculousness. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Again, if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you are not already subscribed, please subscribe. We have a big giveaway happening at the end of the month on the 27th of September. It is the 6th annual it's going to be Breakfast at Boom, but it's the Boom's birthday bash. That's right. It's going to be my birthday on the 25th, but you fine folks are going to get the presents because Mrs. Boom and I are giving away 10 $50 gift cards to your choice, your platform, Steam, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, or a Nintendo Switch eShop. If you win the prize, you get it. And this is one of the things that many channels don't do. We are welcoming in our international viewers. So if you do win one of the $50 gift cards and you do live outside of the United States, we will send you the exact value via PayPal only, and we will pay the transfer fee and the denominational difference if your monies are worth more. If you win, you pay nothing. And again, we're one of the few channels that do these giveaways, but we're also one of the few channels that do the international viewers as well. And of course, if you support the channel, we want to support you if you win. Let's get everyone out of here. We'll start with Jamie, the elusive gamer. Jamie, I would imagine that your show later this evening has changed just like today's. You have a podcast happening. Talk about it. Where can people check it out? It is an Xbox podcast. It is a positive Xbox channel. He talks about games, but he's also suspiciously stalked by the escapees of the Arkham Asylum who don't seem to like talking about video games. It's strange to me. Jamie, sell your brand, brother. Talk about it.
Yeah, thanks, Boom. It's always a pleasure. You know, it's funny. I'm positive about gaming, and that angers people. It's crazy if you think about it.
It's the strangest thing. It really is weird.
It makes no sense, but hey, it is what it is. There's crazies everywhere. But yeah, my channel's The Elusive Gamer. I pretty much exclusively cover Xbox with a bunch of Mass Effect stuff coming soon. I have All Things Xbox podcast, which is on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And tonight we're going to be talking about Space Marine 2 and the elephant in the room, obviously the PlayStation 5 Pro price, and also a bunch of Final Fantasy Xbox news. So it's going to be a good time over there. And we also, my Twitter's Jamie Moran UK, where it's exclusively gaming and jokes.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. $700 Umbra. We got to sell your brand because tomorrow evening, well, not tomorrow, Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the new episode of The Fix, ladies and gentlemen, where not only do they talk about wrestling or wrestling as it were, they talk about video games, they talk about film, they talk about TV. But obviously the talking point tomorrow, and I cannot wait to hear Daniel McGee, your brother from another, his hot take on this. He's probably running rampant as we speak. Let's talk about it. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel? But more importantly, follow you on social media where you do, well, really good reviews. And the last one you just did for Astrobot was phenomenal, kind sir. Talk about it. Uh-oh. Yeah, did we lose it? Did Umber fall asleep? He might have fallen asleep, folks. He does work midnight, so we'll come back to him in a hot second. Harky Chani, obviously, you're going to be with us tomorrow evening on Primetime Gaming. Followed by that, you're going to be with Fonz on Fonz Gaming. He's already out on the socials. He's running rampant with his thoughts and theories. But you also have a YouTube channel. I would imagine that you're going to be doing a video about this. Where could people subscribe? And more importantly, buy your book. Folks, we have an author, a part of the panel.
Sure. Subscribe away. It's Hargichani1 on YouTube. And then if you want to pick up the book, shop.chani.us. Yeah, and I'll probably be on with C Money and Doodle tonight.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. Tune in, folks. The slander is happening.
And then as you said, tomorrow we'll have Primetime Gaming, and then I'll be on with Fonz. I don't know if we'll get D again. It'll be interesting to discuss hardware with him. He usually likes to discuss hardware and go over what PSSR will do. But yeah, let's check that out.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And yeah, D is a hardware guy. That guy's a tech guy for sure. Looking forward to that. Crazy Lou Gaming, obviously the Xbox International podcast, and an amazing show with amazing hosts and, of course, panel members. Not only do they have it there, they do offer an Espanol-only version, which is amazing. Let's talk about it, brother. Where can people subscribe? And this is going to be a big week for you guys because there's a lot to get into. Again, we're starting to see that Xbox is somehow being blamed for this because they're releasing a $600 2 terabyte Series X, and that's the reason why the PlayStation Pro is $700+. I don't personally think so, but this is what people are saying on the internet. And boy, they say the damnedest thing. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe? And more importantly, follow you for your crazy antics on social media.
I'm Mr. BoomStick. Thank you for having me on today. It was a lot of fun. Seriously, a lot of fun. Great conversation here on the show. You can find me at Twitter X at Crazy Lou Gaming. You can also find me on Wednesdays at the Xbox International Podcast at 7 p.m. ET with Sablo, the Big Plume, and Silent Cypher. Also on Fridays and Xbox XPI en Español with Elvis, Eternal Shaddai, Metal Berserker, and ASCAP Gaming at 7 p.m. ET. So if you guys speak Spanish, go and follow them. And Good Morning with Crazy Louie from Mondays to Saturday. I send out the signal, guys. That's what I do. I send out the signal, and I say when I'm coming live, and that's it. I go live. Just join and have some fun. I just dropped the link here on the show. So go ahead and subscribe. And thank you all for being here today. It was fun. It was fun.
Super appreciate it. Crispy Bomb, brother, sell the brand. Where can people find you on social media? And what else you got going on?
At Chris Bomb on X, Chris Bomb 28 Xbox Live. You can find me where I show up. It's going to be on this channel 98% of the time. So I don't know what to tell you, but we'll see you then.
Yeah, indeed, and congratulations on the win. Big win the other night, and you beat the Ravens. F the Ravens. Sorry, I'm a Steeler fan, folks. There you go. So, Korkenstein, brother, sell the brand. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel where you offer, well, different views, but you also have a podcast, and it's very unusual. You incorporate food with a particular game that you are playing. And obviously the big one that's coming up is going to be, well, Call of Duty, where folks, they're going to eat MREs. And man, that's brave because MREs are pretty bad, folks. And if you've ever been in the military, you know what I'm talking about. They only if you're near death and you need something in your belly, you will eat those. Talk about it, brother. Where can people subscribe?
Yeah, so first off, thank you guys for letting me join in today. I know normally my day's Friday, but you guys have been awesome. Such great takes. I think we all agree on what's happening here. So thank you for letting me speak on this, Boom. Thank you to your chat as well. They've always, like I said, I say it every time, they've been absolutely awesome. And then, yeah, they can find me and my takes on this. I've been posting like crazy at the Korkenstein on X or Twitter. And then, Game Pass Gumbo is basically a show where we discuss the games or gaming in general and the food that associates with it. So like I said, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, we talked about that when it got announced. So we talked about Japanese food. One of our hosts has been he lived in Japan for a little while he was on tour of duty, and broke it down about what this means, what this is. So it's a little educational, a little bit fun. Like I said, we are going to do MREs on whenever that show, we're working on it. Like I said, I got really backed up with work and with everything. So look on that. I'll have some news hopefully next week coming out.
Excellent. Of course, Umbra, unfortunately, he's out, folks. And that's why we lowered the show a little bit to like 90 minutes. But today was a lot of people on the panel. It's just
the $700 price tag weighed me down.
There you go. You're back. So listen, obviously your show, we talked about it moments ago, The Fix, Thursday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know your opinion. You obviously dropped it here. You're going to have some more to say, though. I'm going to be very interesting to hear Daniel's, because obviously, like I said, he's probably running around like a madman right now, and he can't wait to get on the mic. Sell the brand. Where can people subscribe? And more importantly, follow you and on social media, but check out the review that you did for Astrobot, which was phenomenal, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes. You guys can find me on Twitter X, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. The Fix, as Boom mentioned, 8:00 Eastern, Thursdays. I got to get me a panel together for this one this week. But Fridays, the Infinite podcast, typically. Not sure who will have one this week. Risket is on the move. And, of course, here with you fellas, typically here on Tuesdays, if I'm not KO'd. Yeah, so, yeah. Thanks for having me, Boom. And
we appreciate it, brother. Again, a big shout out to we had over 1,400 people watching across X and YouTube, which is, I mean, that's a lot of humans watching the show live. We are incredibly grateful, humbled by that kind of support. And again, if you did find the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to close the show, folks, with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. To live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.